I think it's great in terms of, first of all, him making a brilliant recovery to make himself available again. So he had a run out the other day and had some time on the pitch, and so it's fantastic. And just with regard to selection, there was a lot of discussions, and we did discuss whether we started him on the bench again and brought him off, and then when the decision was made that we were going to go with Ali Price at 9, we felt we really needed his leadership and experience in terms of starting in the second row, and so that's it's pretty important for us, and it's a great boost to the squad and everyone to have him back.
Alan, how have you done it, and how confident are you that the shoulder's going to stand up to the rigours of Test match rugby?
Well, it wasn't just me. There's a lot of help back home. I'm not going to say it's all me. I think I've had a lot of support. And a lot of planning that was put in place from out here with regards to the shoulder itself. I think there's a few guys got questions for Gats whether there's a test cap involved from the session we had yesterday. So I'm looking forward to it.
It's your 10th successive Lions test cap, Alan. Looking at the team, how strong is it, and how confident are you about the right results on Saturday?
I think, as Gats has said, he's probably had the hardest job with the selection because of the quality player and quality person we have. We set out, and the message I gave to the squad back in the Lensbury was, we've come to win a Test series, and I think we have a squad and a side that's capable to start that ball rolling.
We're on some real talking points in the 15. Stuart Ogg fullback. What are your thoughts there? He's had quite a few weeks, hasn't he? What's he going to give the team on Saturday?
Yeah, just his experience and stuff. He's captained the side in a couple of matches. He's been very unlucky in that this is his third tour and his first Test start. So it was a toss of the coin between him and Liam Williams, and we could have gone either way there. But we just felt with this game, giving Stuart that opportunity. So. Like I said, he's had that experience of 2 previous tours, and so he'll hopefully take his chance.
And Ali Price over Conor Murray, was that down to the Stormers' performance which swung it for him?
We've been really impressed with him in terms of the way he's been. I thought his running game against the Stormers was good. Not some nice variation. He was getting the ball away quickly. But in saying that, it's not just about the starting 15 and looking at South Africa and particularly up front in their bench. We wanted to make sure that the balance was right and how important our bench was going to be and the experience of players coming off the bench. And so you've got players like Conor Murray and Liam Williams and Owen Farrell who were disappointed not to be involved, but having that experience, they get a chance to come on and hopefully close the game out for us. So we're really happy with the depth of our bench and how important they're going to be for us on Saturday.
It's a really special Test match for Duhan van der Merwe, in the country of his birth. How's he feeling about his selection? And talk about the match-up against Cheslin Colby.
Yeah, there's going to be a real challenge. Cheslin didn't get many opportunities. He had one opportunity in that A game and made the most of it. And so we can't afford to do what he did in that A game and kick the ball down his throat. So we won't be giving him hopefully as much time and space on the ball on Saturday. So look, it's a challenge for him. I spoke to him yesterday and said to him, what's coming on the weekend, and he was fully aware because I presume every time he touches the ball they'll be trying to hit him with everything they've got. There'll probably be some verbals at him as well. So he's well aware of what's at stake, but he's been incredibly relaxed. He's the way he's been running with the ball and beating defenders and also scoring tries, top try scorer in the Six Nations. It was a really tough call in terms of that, and leaving Josh Adams out. I spoke to Josh yesterday and just sort of said, that was such a tough call for us in terms of and for himself. He had a pretty emotional week last week with the birth of his child, and in the next couple of days and checking there. And by his own admission, he probably didn't play as well as he normally would on the Saturday, and that's completely understandable because of the week he had a little knock in his hip and had quite a significant blow to his sternum that was pretty sore as well. So tough call, but with we made that decision. I spoke to him about that, but and for a number of players I spoke to and showed them some stats from previous tours of how the test team from test 1 to test 2 to test 3 how many changes had been made traditionally. So, everyone, even though they're not involved, hopefully will still be in the picture and still get opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, some big names are on the bench, some big names not even on the bench. I mean, how generally are they taking the news?
Obviously, I expect the guys to be disappointed, and that was the chat. They're not going to be. They should be disappointed about missing out in selection, but then we've spoken about how important it's not just the 23; it's a whole squad, and everyone's been putting up their hands, and we're really pleased with the form of a lot of players in the squad, and then it's how they respond to that and their responsibility in helping that test side prepare for Saturday. And I must say they've been absolutely brilliant in the last couple of training sessions, and no one's taken a backward step. And we had a pretty tasty training session yesterday, a little bit of niggle and stuff, and exactly what we wanted. And take my hat off to the guys that were helping that test team. They really fronted up and trained exceptionally well, and we couldn't ask for more from a coaching perspective.
Just finally, Warren, the team was in the public domain before today's announcement. How did that happen, and are you bothered much?
I don't know how that happened. So it wasn't 100% right, but obviously someone's leaked that out, whether that's on purpose or accidentally, or someone's betrayed someone's trust. Whether that's a player or a staff member. So what I'll do next week is just name the team to the players, and then name the team to the press straight away.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Warren, some of the combinations haven't been tried on the tour so far. There are obvious reasons behind some of them. Have some others, though, been deliberately kept under wraps?
No, that wasn't our thinking at all. We looked at the team and picked what we thought were the best team for the weekend. It was a robust debate. We were an hour and a half in selection. It was the hardest selection meeting I've ever been in. Asked the coaches to come along with their 23s, and we were all different. And I can say that we all had to compromise in terms of that and debate positions and selections, and that's the way it should be. And I know a lot of people sort of out there and think it's the team that I select, and it's never been the way, whether it's been with Wales or the Lions. It's important that as coaches we all have an input into the makeup of the squad, and it's the way that I've always done things. So I can tell you, not one of the coaches got the 23 that they had come along to the meeting with. So we all, we had, and I think that's credit to the players about how, even as coaches, we were all thinking about different permutations and combinations as well, and what the makeup of the 23 looked like. It was some long discussions, and just to give you an idea, I think in the forward pack we had 4 of the same 8, and in the back line we only had 3 of the same 7 between the 5 of us. So it just goes to show how tough it was in terms of that selection, but like I said, it's a great place to be in, because there's so many players in the squad putting their hands up and making it difficult for us.
Just on that, do you start from a position of picking your best 23 players to play South Africa, or do you start from the position of, right, this is the game plan we want to play, who are the best 23 to fulfil that game plan? Which way round do you come at it from?
Yeah, a little bit of both. You're looking at the way we're going to play and knowing the threats that are coming to us. We'll expect that aerial battle and how strong that's going to be, and the physicality they'll bring with their runners off 9. We don't think they'll play a huge amount of rugby. They'll play a lot of territory, so we've got to be strong in those areas and being prepared to stay in that arm wrestle and then wait for the opportunities that come from an attacking perspective, and then being able to capitalise on that. Probably the first 30 minutes in the A game we were a little bit short, and we worked ourselves back into the game, and we kept them scoreless in the second half, and we looked strong in that second half, and a couple of tries we felt particularly charged down with things that we can fix, and probably the crossfield kick to Colby is something that we need to address. And we have spoken about that too. So like we feel like we're in a good place, and some players that coaches would have had in their starting 15 didn't make the 23 because looking at the combinations on the bench and the experience. And I just need to reiterate, just how important it's not just a starting 15, but the guys coming off the bench are going to have a significant impact, and they need to have an impact coming off the bench for us.
Alun Wyn will become the first player of the pro era to play 10 Lions test matches. What does that say about him?
That he's old. He's been around for a while. Look, that's a fantastic achievement for anyone. Not just playing your first test match, but to play 10. So it's a fantastic, and I just think it shows what he's been as a player. But I have to say, for not just for Alun Wyn, but for this whole squad, being out here and playing for the Lions, it means a huge amount to them. And to see someone like who was desperate to get back and to rehab and to want to be out here to represent the Lions again, it just shows a lot about him as a person, but also what the Lions means to Alun Wyn, and not just him, but to everybody.
After that ringing endorsement, can I turn to the old man himself? Alun Wyn, congratulations. How does this test week compare to the others that you've had so far?
Well, it's still very young as we're on our day off. Bit of R&R. I think it's been pretty whistle stop for me since I spoke to Gats and some of the management about being involved on Saturday, literally off the plane, because we hadn't really got that far, obviously, because the timelines had moved forward a little bit. So I was fortunate enough to get the game time on the Saturday and put myself in contention. So to be sitting here now and involved in the test week is everything I've worked for really over the last. I'd be lying if I say it was 2 years. It's probably 4 years. Obviously, when you finish a series or a tour, you don't know whether you're going to do a next one, and a lot of games go under the bridge, as it were. So to be sitting here now, is a very, very special thing. But like I say, it's only a very short step towards what's going to be hopefully a very enjoyable week.
In the starters, you've got yourself, Merwe, Courtney and Jack are all lined out forwards. There's also Tig on the bench, and Tom Curry and Hamish Watson have also been used. Is that an indication of how important the line-out is going to be in this series?
Yeah, very much so. I think the impact the set piece has on the game generally is huge. In times gone by, you'd say it's just to restart the game, but I think definitely knowing the players we're coming up against and the set piece is a pillar and what the Springboks use. There's definitely opportunity and variation there that we have, and as Gat said, we have that ability, if you like, coming off the bench to add and aid our attack. So it's a very big focus point, particularly for the opposition that we're going to face.
History says it's very difficult to win a series in South Africa if you don't win the first test. Not impossible, but difficult. How much of an advantage would it be to go one up in a 3-match series?
I think that's anything in sport. I've done enough Six Nations launches to that word that comes out and everybody's used it as momentum, and it's exactly the same in a series. You want to get up the blocks, as much as the opposition, and it's our opportunity to do that on the weekend.
Thank you.
Alun Wyn, hi, it's Michael Corkin from RTE here. Congratulations on your selection. It's good to see you back again. Can I ask you to compare and contrast the sort of almost emotional state from when you walked off the pitch in Edinburgh to landing in South Africa? You must have been delighted for fellas to be battering you around the place again.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I can't swear on here, so I won't go into too much detail. But the first few days after that and getting home, I think I was at home on the sofa before the guys had even got to the airport on the Sunday. So that was a tough one. Fast forward to the Tuesday when I was told there was a chance. It was bordering on surreal. So to be here and taking the knocks and bumps and being in amongst it with the group. It means more. I'm not going to lie, it means more in the fact of I'd spent 2 weeks with the guys and was getting to know people. We were bedding into the rugby. Obviously had the 7 minutes, and for those 2 days that was my tour done. But like I say, I had the decent news on the Tuesday, and sometimes all it needs is a chance. And I was willing to work hard and get myself and make it difficult for the guy next to me to make myself available for selection, like I say.
You're in a situation now where you're going to leave the team, obviously, this coming weekend. What are the kind of key messages you'll be trying to get across to the match day 23, kind of the night before the game, when you're on the way to the game, when you're in the changing room before that match?
Very basic. I think when you get to this level and the calibre of player we have, it doesn't have to be overcomplicated. We've seen the rugby that we've been able to play and produce across the games leading up to this week. I think a big one's going to be composure. We're going to be in an arm wrestle. As Gats has said, there's going to be a territory battle. So the basic messages are going to be along those lines. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. There's obviously going to be a lot of emotion involved anyway. But the calibre of player and the simplistic nature and that approach is what I've used with previous teams and Wales in the past, and I'll continue in a similar vein.
Cheers, man. If I could ask you to speak to Mr. Gatland, the head coach there, if you don't mind, please. Mr. Gatland, can you tell me what your expectations are in terms of South Africa and the threat they're going to pose on Saturday?
Yeah, I think in that A game we were very happy with the way our line-out went and our maul defence and the way we scrummaged, and a couple of scrums towards the end of the game we felt we'd really dominated them. So whether they come with different variations, I don't think so. I think they'll come with a harder approach in terms of that's one aspect where we've probably dented a little bit of their ego in terms of they haven't had that dominance in those two areas that they would have liked. Incredibly impressed with the way that we've defended on this tour and continued to improve in our defence. We haven't conceded a line-out maul try. We haven't conceded a pick-and-go try from close to our goal line. So, that's one aspect that we've worked really, really hard on. And if we can stop them from dominating in those areas, then they're going to have to go to something else in their game. Definitely they will kick a lot. So probably in normal internationals, there's possibly 20-odd kicks in a game from each side, and when you play South Africa in these games, you can expect up to 40-odd kicks in a game. So, like I said, that aerial battle is going to be a key to us, and at times we need to make sure, if those kicks from them or us are on the money, then you get the ball back. You've got to make the most of it in terms of those opportunities, but you've also got to be in a situation where you don't force things and you don't lose the patience to be able to maybe just put them under pressure and put the ball back and wait for the chance. So it's been smart about how we approach and manage that, but also being aware that when we do get opportunities, when the kick's not quite so good and we've got a bit of time on the ball, that those opportunities to counter-attack and to move those in those situations as well. So those are the sorts of things we've been working hard on this week.
How important will the conversations be with the match referee if you get a chance to chat to him before the game? Given the fact that there are people who've got a really key role to play over the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, we've got a meeting with the referees tomorrow at 3:00. So what's been good in the lead-up games with the referees we've been having meetings with them in terms of debriefing the previous game and looking at the game going forward and trying to just get that real consistency of the calls that have been made. And so that'll be very much the discussion with the referee tomorrow in terms of what he's seen in the previous games, the way that the referees have refereed them. We'll show some clips to the referee and just to get some clarity. So it's the same messages that we've had in the warm-up games. Are they seeing the same things and refereeing the same things? So it's an important meeting for us tomorrow in terms of just getting that clarity about the way that they've seen us from afar, and then also the same messages that have been delivered from the 3 referees we've had in those lead-up games are the same messages.
Cheers. Thanks very much.
Hi Warren, hi Alun Wyn. Warren, why do you think that the team selection was so much more difficult and the meetings so much longer and more detailed this time than before the first test 4 years ago?
I think it's just credit to the players. I mean, just there's so much competition in the squad and so many different choices in terms of options in terms of the players and potentially the way that we want to play. So and that's been fantastic. So in the games and the lead-up games, there'd be a lot of players put their hands up, and probably in previous tours you'd sort of go into the meetings and you'd have a consistency of 19 to 20 players that everyone was pretty much on the same page with, because that's the players that have been probably in form or put their hands up leading into the test matches. But this has been completely different. There's so many players that have really made the selection really difficult for us, and that, like I said, it makes it hard, but it's where you want it to be. And I think that from a positive point of view, that if there are knocks and injuries and we've got players and the depth in the squad at the moment that we can handle losing a few players. And I think looking at it, I'd like to think we've possibly got a little bit more depth than the South African squad has at the moment if they did pick up the same number of injuries.
Stuart Hogg said the other day you're looking to keep the ball off the floor and play at pace, and your selection's borne that out, whether it's Daly 13, Price 9 or Conan at 8. So can we gauge from the selection, Warren, that you're not going in there just to try and beat the Boks at their own game?
Oh, absolutely, and it's twofold. You can't go into a test match playing South Africa without trying to match their physicality, because you can't allow that sort of dominance, and test match rugby is all about the physical battle, and it doesn't change, but then it's making sure that you're smart in terms of when those chances from an attacking perspective come, we've got to look at capitalising on that. And even after that A game, we felt afterwards, just particularly in that second half and how strongly we finished, we think we're in a great position from a conditioning point of view. The guys have worked incredibly hard in Jersey in terms of the pre-tour camp, and they've worked really hard since we've been here. A lot of stuff and conditioning wise and altitude, and we've really got the benefit of that as we've come down to sea level. So we don't think we're going to fall away. We think as the game goes on, we're going to get stronger and stronger. So those are the sort of things that we're taking into the game with a lot of positives. That we're going to be in an arm wrestle at times, but we've got the confidence that we can work through that, and you're not going to get everything in your own way in a test match. And times you're going to be under pressure and you're going to have to defend, and then there are times when you're going to have some ascendancy, and hopefully we've got the ability to be able to capitalise on that.
You've got some guys who were heroes for you 4 years ago, like Jamie George, Felipe Faletau, not in the 23. Murray and Farrell were both regular test starters there on the bench. With someone like Owen Farrell, who is very unused to not being in a starting 15 when he's fit and available, what have you seen from him this tour, and what do you want from him as a replacement on Saturday? Yeah,
just his experience, and I had a good chat to him, and he wanted to know where he was. And sometimes you don't have the answers to players. It's just you've decided to go with the player because you feel that they're the right player at the time, and we felt with Dan Biggar he was the right player. But the message to Owen was, his experience coming off the bench, and then to play instinctively, and that's one of the things that he has been good in the past. He's an instinctive player, making good decisions when he takes the ball to the line about short passing or going out the back or throwing missed passes, and so that experience for us is going to be important, and the discussion was had as well about Dan Biggar. In the past with Wales, he's been brilliant coming off the bench for us when we had Gareth Anscombe starting and Dan Biggar bringing those experience off the bench and knowing how to close out games and to win games was important for us when we had the period where we had a run of victories in a row. So like I said, it wasn't just about the starting 15. There was a lot of discussion about the bench and the experience and guys coming off there, and guys who are going to be disappointed that they're not starting and want to really come on and make an impact, and whether that's Connor Owen or Liam Williams, any one of the other guys in the forwards, they're really going to want to come on and make an impact, and that's exactly what we'll be looking for, and we feel that these guys can come on and make a difference.
Brilliant. Just a very quick one to Alun Wyn, if I can. Alun Wyn, you mentioned how, when you left Edinburgh, things were pretty bleak, and come the Tuesday, you got that sort of little bit of hope. What was going through your head when you did get the call, or you were told that you might be able to make the first test after all?
Well, I think the first thing we did, we got all the. To be honest with you, there weren't many thoughts I could probably share with you, but it was a quick couple of phone calls to get all the apparatus I needed to start the recovery ready for the next day, and I made sure I didn't dwell on that and the situation for too long. It was about being proactive and starting the recovery, and that's what I did, and I guess that's why I'm here.
Thanks, guys.
Afternoon, guys. Alun Wyn, having come so close against the Boks with Wales in 2019, will that be in your mind going into this test, the battle that was and the emotions that you felt after the game?
Yeah, I realise how close it was, and in part there's a lot of similarities, I suppose, in what we're expecting from the Springboks, but you've got to park that. It's gone. This is a same colour jersey but a different badge on it, and that's the focus. And like I say, you can't dwell. But that experience gives us, the guys that are involved from a Welsh perspective and an English perspective, obviously in that tournament, and the knowledge to know what we're going to go up against, and focus about this weekend and nothing that's passed.
Cheers. And Warren, it's been 20 years since Scotland provided a test starter for the Lions. And there was a lot of proud people up here today having seen the selection. What does your selection say about the journey that Scottish rugby has been on over these years?
Yeah, there's obviously, I think the pleasing thing from my point of view is I thought the last Six Nations was the closest Six Nations that I've seen in a long time. You take Italy out of it, but any of the other teams were capable of beating each other on the day, and we saw that during the Six Nations, and that's what you want to see. You don't want to see one or two teams dominating that, and even though Scotland did finish fourth in the end, another victory, and it could have been different. So I think they're on a journey and an upward journey. And hopefully that continues for them, because the important thing is about there's been improvement, but then it's about also making sure you continue winning those big games, and that's what really matters, and then hopefully winning titles, and players knowing how to win in finals or win in Grand Slams or win championships and stuff, and that's when you're able to take your team to the next level. And I think they're in the process at the moment, the mid-process of developing some depth and some real depth in their squad, and then hopefully they're able to continue to build on that. And that's, I think that's the thing and the challenge for Scotland going forward. But they've definitely made improvements over the last 4 or 5 years, there's no doubt about that.
Thanks both.
Last one, Ben.
Hi Warren. You mentioned Josh Adams and sort of the emotional week he's had before. Can you just elaborate on whether that was sort of the deciding factor behind his absence, or was it more of a tactical thing in how you want to approach this first test?
No, I mean, I said to him, it was probably when it came to the wingers and stuff, and it was probably an easy out for us, really. It was kind of like, and not saying that lightly. I mean, like, he did have an emotional week, and then on the Saturday, with the emotion and stuff, and the couple of knocks that he took in the game, and I said he was reasonably quiet in that game as well. And you looked at it, and that was possibly the deciding factor. And but there's no doubt that he will hopefully feature going forward. He knows where the try line, knows how to score. I mean, Doohan's scored some really good tries on this tour as well, and he's beaten a lot of defenders and brought some physicality, and we know what a quality player Anthony Watson is, and particularly how good he is in the air too. So, look, I mean, that was by far, the toughest call for us in terms of, who we picked in the back three. Lots of other positions as well. I mean, any one of the three hookers could have started. They're all quality. There's a lot of depth in that position, and then finding, getting the balance of our back row. So, like I said, it was a long discussion and debate and selection, and as coaches, we all had different 23s, and any 23 I saw from the experts or the ex-rugby players in the media, they were all completely different as well. So lots of, but I don't see that as a negative. I see it as a real positive, because it just shows what strength and depth we have in the squad at the moment, and the options we have in terms of selection.
Thanks all. Thank you very much. Thank you, gents.
Yes.